So I'm recording.
Oh, we've got to press the record. Got it. All right. Yes, we're starting formally now. Yay. Let's, first of all, can we give Marguerite a round of applause? She did a good job there. Good job. And thank you for setting the stage and for putting on these events. So hello, ladies. I am very, very excited to be here. And I like to run my show, as I like to say, to just be very interactive. Okay, so I'm going to want to hear from all of you, and we could unmute ourselves because, you know, when you're chatting, if you have a question, because there aren't that many of us, and Marguerite's going to be very patient. I do have some PowerPoints, but before anything else, I wanted to first get to know all of you. So I'm going to start with a couple of questions, and just raise your hand if this fits for you. How many of you are raring to go and excited with new goals in this new year? Raise your hand if you've got some new goals. How many of you are energized, excited about the new year? How many of you are like, oh my goodness, it's been hard. I've got some struggles going on. My hand is up. Okay, let's be real here today. And how many of you have a word for the year? Have you guys thought about that at all? How many of you have a word for the year, what that looks like? Have any of you thought about, Chris? Some of you do. Okay, good. So we're going to play a little, as Marguerite said, I am the networking queen on both coasts, and we're going to get to know each other a little bit. And I want to get to know you. So we're going to just do a very quick go around, and I'll call your name. And when I call your name, if you would unmute yourself, all you have to do is to say your name. But I would love to hear your word of the year. And you might just have to make it up right now. So just one word that just resonates with you. You might change it tomorrow, but a word that feels good. So for example, you know, if I start Heidi, and my word for the year is wellness. Mind, body, spirit. Wellness. That's my goal for this year. So Marguerite, I'm going to put you on the spot, girl. You can go ahead. So just unmute yourself and let's come up with your word for the year.
Strength.
Strength. Nice. And do you notice how she said that too? Like the tone of voice, she said it with like strength. Good. Okay. And lovely Rita, you know why I'm calling you lovely Rita, right? So for some of the other people might not know why I'm calling you lovely Rita. You can explain lovely Rita and tell me your word for the year.
My word for the year is focus. And lovely Rita is a Beatles song from way back in the day.
I know some of you youngsters who knows lovely Rita? Does anybody know the song Lovely Rita? See some of our youngers, they're like, nope. Okay, Mari, let's hear from you.
My word for the year is transformation.
That's strong. I like that. Thank you. Good word. Okay, Miss Ashley.
My word for this year is dedication.
Dedication. These are strong, powerful words. Great. We've got Claudia.
My word for the year is self-compassion.
You guys have thought about this. You can't think of these strong words off the cuff. Self-compassion. Wow, I feel it. So we have two Ashleys, right? So Ashley Dargart, pronounce for me your first and last name.
Ashley Dargart.
Okay, Dargart.
Yeah.
Ashley with the leaves. Nice leaves.
Yes. I have a phrase and I stole it from Nike this year is just do it. I'm a master planner, not a master doer. So just do it is going to be my phrase.
Just do it. Okay, good. I like that. That's good. And let's see, Alicia, can you put your camera on? Can we see you if possible? I like the face-to-face. There she is.
I guess thinking about a word for the year is hope.
Hope.
Yeah, a lot of down days it seems like, but hopeful that it's a new year and have new opportunities.
Good. Let's stick with that. That's a very positive affirmation. Hope. Good. Now I have Jim Copeland's. Do we have a gentleman here or are we using somebody else's Zoom? Is there somebody there? It says on the thing, Jim Copeland's. And is there somebody there? And again, for the rest of you, I'd love it if you could keep your cameras on. It's just a great.
Because I'm here.
There, okay.
Did you
So
hear me?
tell us, Jim, can you put
Ben-
your camera on?
I've been in I've never used the camera. I've been in so many meetings where it's just, yeah, you just follow along. But yeah, I don't have a word for a year. I usually just have phrases. And like, I do have one that's like, always be encouraging is probably a phrase for the year.
I like that, always be encouraging. So it's up to you. There should be an icon at the bottom with a video camera. And you're right, most people don't ask for the camera, but because I'm the communication skills queen and it feeds off of my energy, I like seeing you all to participate. So this is going to be an interactive piece today, okay? So Maria, we've got Maria in the house. Can you unmute yourself, Maria, and tell us? Okay, I've got Charlene. She's going to be a fly on the wall. Well, fly, you can still give us your word for the year.
Absolutely. Mine is consistency. So consistency in a high level of quality in the work that I do and in also taking care of myself.
Good.
Yeah.
Are we already getting inspired by each other's words? I'm getting inspired by just you guys saying them. It's like, yeah, we're self-care. Okay, good. So let's see. Who do I not have? Megan. Do we have two people there? Are we double dipping today? Hi, girls.
Yes, this is my manager, Tiffany.
Hi.
So
Hi.
we came up with determined this year for our
Ooh.
word of the year.
And you're with Green Clean Machine. What is that?
It's a truly eco-friendly cleaning service for homes on the Central Coast.
Nice. Okay. And let's see, we have Jennifer. Oops, I'll go back to you, Maria. That's good. Let's see, Jennifer, do we have, there you are. Okay. And I think, did you unmute yourself or can you speak up? We can't hear you. She disappeared, but she'll come back. Okay, Miss Marie, I know it gets a little crumbly. This is Zoom, but it's okay. I want to be patient with it because I want to see all of you guys. Remember, not 55% of our communication is nonverbal, so I like seeing you. Maria, come back to us. And you put in the chat your word.
Hi, sorry, I'm on my phone and it's kind of glitching, but yeah, my word for the year is endurance.
Endurance, good. Okay, did I get everybody? Did I get everybody's word? Did everybody jump in? Okay.
Yeah.
And
I think I'm ready.
okay, I hear you, Jennifer. I hear you.
Okay, so my word for the year is fearless.
Ooh, that was worth the price of admission.
Yes,
Good.
fearless this year.
All right, great. So everybody give yourselves a little bit of a round. We're keeping the energy high today. And again, I just want to say thank you so much for being here. And the purpose of today is just like what we're doing out the gate. This is going to be interactive. I'm going to facilitate, but we're going to learn from each other. So I'm going to encourage you to interact. And how can we start the new year fresh? Here I am. I've been in business. I'm an entrepreneur, speaker. I'm a business coach. I've been doing this for over 25 years. I still need motivation. There's there's many gurus out there, and there's a gentleman that's seasoned. I don't even think he's alive anymore. Zig Ziglar. I don't know if any of you have heard of him. He was a motivational speaker, but he had a crazy quote, and the essence was something like, motivation is like bathing. You know, you got to do it every day or you stink. And it's silly and it's a little crude, but you know what? Every day, how can we switch what goes on up here? How many of you know that what goes on up here is sometimes the culprit that keeps us stuck? How many of you would agree with that? So it's about how can we shift what's going on up here, and how can we come up with some new ideas, some new tools, some new tips. I have many, but you guys do too, that we can help each other. And you might say, some of the things that I'm going to share with you are so basic, but how many of you agree we need reminders? We need reminders to keep ourselves focused, to keep ourselves positive, whether we work for a company, whether we have our own business, we have families, we have balancing. And how many of us just want to be healthier and happier? It's a new year despite what's going on. So we're here today and I applaud you. I know it's really easy. We sign up for these seminars and then things get in the way. And then we say, oh, should I really do it? You're here. So trust that you're here for a reason. And I think like Marguerite said, not to be distracted. Let's have fun. Let's get motivated. Let's support one another. And let's get geared up for the new year. Okay? Habits make a big difference, motivation, and that we're all clean with our attitude. Okay? So Marguerite, we're going to go back to the 4th. It's important that I see you all. So we're going to pop up a PowerPoint just for a minute to give you a nice little question, and then we're going to come back to the full screen. So Marguerite, if you just want to show like the first PowerPoint, and then we'll go into the second one. So this is about harnessing your inner power and creating a new you for the new year. So my goal today is to help you with some inspiration and motivation. And if you can go to the next PowerPoint, Marguerite, thank you. We were playing with this earlier, the PowerPoint, and there we go. What would you do if you had a magic wand? Yes, we're going to go there. We're going to play a little bit. What would you do if you had a magic wand? Okay, Marguerite, if you can bring us back to full view here. I have, it just so happens, a magic wand. Now, this is actually a coaching tool. And many of my clients, including men, when I say, if I gave you a magic wand and said, what do you really want out of life? You'd be surprised how that takes time for people to think about. So what I like to do is to start with the big vision. What do you really want? If you had the power, the magic wand, the genie came down and said, you can have anything that you want. Now I do something and I call it popcorn. And what popcorn means is you pop out little answers. Okay, and also you can use the chat. So between Marguerite and I, we're gonna multitask and use the chat, but raise your hand, I'd like to hear from a few of you. If you could have anything you want, here's your magic wand. What is it that you want? Megan. Go ahead and unmute yourself, or if you're unmuted.
Yep. First thing that came to my mind was all my debt erased.
Oh, I got chill bumps on that one. Can anybody else relate to that? Okay, so get all of your debt just erased, taken care of. That's a good, juicy one. Good. Okay, magic wand. What else? If you have a magic wand, what else do you want? Let's hear from somebody else. Go ahead, Claudia.
I honestly been working lately and just want to be my true self. I feel like I carry so much personas that I pick up during so many processes in my life that is identify who I am and become the essence. Like truly become the essence without apologizing to anyone.
I can really feel, you know, you're so, isn't that so articulate? How many of us wear masks? And oftentimes the mask of I'm somebody else, or he, I'm going to use humor, or we wear these different masks in our life. And oftentimes they've helped us at a certain time. Not the mask, not the COVID mask, by the way. We're talking about a whole different realm. And I love what you said, is that that's, to me, sounds like you're wanting to come forth. Who's the real Claudia? And to let your authentic self shine. And that takes some inner work, doesn't it? And we're going to begin that process today, because I'm going to give you some outside tips of what you can do, but a lot of it is looking within as well, shining that light. Good, she's clapping. Good. Okay, what else? You've got your magic wand here. Jim. Jim, I like it when the men speak up here. I like we've got a magic wand. What do you want?
Well, I never thought about the magic wand, but I did think while I was sitting here that sometimes when I walk around my house, I wish I could wiggle my nose and everything would be repaired again. So if I had a magic wand, that's what I would use it for.
Good. When you said wiggle your nose, now again, I'm dating myself, but I can't see you.
Well, I do think of Bewitched. So.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite shows. So, yep. So you got to go for my seasoned people. The rest of them are like, what are you talking about? That's okay. So I loved Bewitched. We'd wiggle her nose and things would just happen. So thank you for that, Jen. Jennifer, you've got your hand up. Let's hear from you. Make the pandemic go away. Yes.
Yeah, if I had a magic wand, I think I would like to take all my adult responsibilities out and just travel the world. That's what I would like to do if I had a magic wand.
I love that. And you're getting a lot of nods from that one. So traveling is a value to you. That's important. Yeah. Okay, good. So we start with the big picture and the big dream. So Marguerite, if you can go to the next slide.
Give me a second.
Yeah. We are patient.
Oh, thank you. I'm trying to share again my screen. 1 minute.
I know.
Okay.
That's all this technology. That's okay.
Can you see it?
Yes, and I saw
okay.
You'd like to save the planet, so I'm still seeing some juicy. You can go ahead and go to the next one.
There we go.
What are your goals? Good. So yeah, so first of all, back to the magic wand. I want you to think big. We want to end the pandemic. We want to heal the planet. We want to get rid of debt. We want our house to be perfect. It's big. Now, though, reality sets in. We need to drill down. So this is going to be part of the New Year's. We all know goals. But oftentimes, we don't know how to set goals, I find. Because I've been teaching this for over 25 years, and we're like, oh, these big things that we want. But how do we make them a reality? How do we drill down? Okay. So what I'm going to have you do, and hopefully you have some paper and pen in front of you, with some of these big goals, we want to go little baby steps, because if we get big steps, we get overwhelmed. So Marguerite, can you bring me back to the crowd? See, I can't see everybody. I like to see everybody. Okay, there we go. So let me give you an example. And this could even just be a personal example, or you hear people say, okay, I want to get out of debt. I want to lose 10 pounds. I want to fix my house. How many of us make big goals like that? And then we're like, at the end of the year, it's the same goal. We didn't get things done. Right? It's often because we haven't broken it down. Now, if you Google or any of the gurus that you might listen to, they all say the same thing when we create goals, so that we can be inspired and empowered to get what we want. How to write it down. There's a power in writing down our goals. But more importantly, because I feel people get tripped up on this, we've got to come up with our own. So I can say, okay, I want to lose weight. Anybody else have that issue? No. I'm the only one. Okay, thank you. So why doesn't it happen unless I set goals and intentions? So when you saw on the PowerPoint, I want us right now to come up with a goal, but 3 action steps that we can take small to hit that goal. What they say with goals, and what I know to be true, is we have to be specific. If it's too big and out there, it doesn't happen. So, for example, for me, 3 baby steps. One is to claim it. I want to lose 10 pounds by March 1st. Clear, specific, using numbers. Here are the 3 baby things that I'm going to do, or that I'm starting to do. 1, get up 30 minutes earlier to exercise before checking my phone. How many of you jump out of bed and you go right to the email, right to your phone? Culprits. Come on, let's not. Yeah, it's easy to do, right? So it's staying committed. Step 2, making myself a smoothie every morning. Making a smoothie, anybody, you're all California people. Do you guys make smoothies for yourself? But making a smoothie is a commitment. I have a lot of good excuses, and it's cold here. There's snow. Who wants a smoothie, right? And smoothies can get messy, right? I've got to get all the ingredients and the yogurt, but I'm doing it. It's a small goal. That's the second commitment. And the third one is prepping your food, prepping the food. But you see, in just those 3 steps, they're tangible. So what I want you to do right now is drill down, if it's the debt, when somebody said the debt, how much, we want to be realistic. How much debt do you want to be? How much do you want to pay off, and by when? It's really important to have a deadline. Okay, so the self-transformation, or looking within, what does that look like? Maybe that means you're going to be taking 2 personal development classes a week. Maybe you're going to start journal writing. What are you going to do? So go ahead and take a minute, jot down your goal. And I want 3 baby steps so you're not overwhelmed. Back to Jim, and he mentioned something about his house. How many of you feel like, oh, I've got so much clutter in my house and it's just so big that I don't even want to deal with it? Does anyone have issues like that? Or anything, your files, there's something big in your life that you don't want to deal with. That's why we have to break it down. I will do 1 drawer a night, or I will spend 15 minutes working on my paperwork, drilling it down. Okay, so when you're ready, or put in the chat, but I like verbally, who would like to, because I'm going to walk you through, and let's see, we're going to coach you a little bit to see if this is a goal we can break down. So who has a goal? Who would like to name and claim a goal that they wrote down? Go ahead, Claudia.
So living in authenticity, I like what you say, how you put it like that, because it's gonna marry with what I say. This is some actions that I started, that some are already practiced, but I wanna, like, because that's the goal, I really wanna commit it to do it every day. So inner work. So I have an amazing book that I'm reading right now that is called Radical Awakening by Dr. Chofali. It's an amazing job.
Do you have it there to hold up for us? It's always fun to have resources. Radical Awakening. Wow.
I highly recommend this book for everyone. It's amazing. I bought it, the audio.
Put that in the chat, Claudia, too. Okay.
I buy the audiobook, and also I bought the book just to do the work. I also commit myself not to buy clothes this year, just clothing, so I don't become another persona, because I'm transforming myself into someone else. So don't fall into the third one is also taking the commitment to remove 25 items of my house every month. Things that doesn't bring me any joy, that doesn't, I don't know even why they're here still. So that's kind of where I am. I do meditation, but that's something that I do even before. So I don't know if it's something else that you could recommend me to do more that inner work and kind of, you know, being true to myself. Another thing that I'm doing is asking myself before I commit to something or somebody, how am I gonna feel after I say yes or no doing this? So that has helped me a lot.
I think we need to give Claudia a round of applause, and I hope that you're all taking notes, because she's going deep out the gate, and I love it, and it's clean and it's clear. And I want to just play off of a couple things. You're getting applause and applause. Claudia, thank you so much for being so authentic. I haven't heard of that book, so when we're done chatting, or put it in the chat, I have a book called Radical Forgiveness, and boy, is that intense. So what I love about her goals, though, they're specific. And there's a couple people in there. It sounds like you're listening to Marie Kondo. Is that right? things that she's really big into items that if they don't bring you joy, get rid of them. But what I love is with goals, she's using numbers, 25 things. That's a lot, but that's a good goal. And that every day, and I love the frame of asking questions, how will I feel after I say yes? So she's really on the path here. So I love that. But those action steps are perfect, clean, and write them down so you don't forget. Good job. And yes, we'll go over even some more things and other people to be inspired. So feel free to jump into what Claudia said. So I have my ideas, but many of you are a wealth of information, like that book right there. Okay, good. Who else? Who else has a goal? Let's drill it down.
I can share mine.
Okay, thank you, Jennifer.
Yeah, so my goal for this year, my biggest goal for this year is focusing only on what I love to do. That's my biggest goal this year. I felt like last year or the last couple of years, I've been focusing a lot on doing what others love to do to help them, which is part of my job. But this year, I want to level up my success and my work. So I promised to myself that I was going to focus more on what I love to do. And the baby steps that I'm going to take in order to accomplish that would be, I want to look for work only that I love and that aligns with my goals and my mission. And any work that makes me feel good. So like the environment, the people who I'm around, really research and ask myself, is that company really somewhere where I want to work? And then, yeah, just work that aligns with my mission in this world.
Good. Is that, I've got some background noise, but is that from you? Is that in your background?
That's what my
That's
kids.
okay. So those were good. Thank you so much for sharing. And what I'm hearing is those were pretty right on. And that's a big goal. Okay. So there's a couple of things in that. One, I would encourage you to even take it further. Sometimes, and maybe you've already done this work, is to write down what are our values. You know, and you can find online, and as coaches, there's like a whole wheel of life and what our values are. So, and that would help, and maybe even Claudia or the rest of you. So when you do like these little, you can do like these little surveys online, you get really clear, like what are your 3 or 4 values? So it actually is just another tool that makes it easier if a situation comes up, and then you look and you have to say no. And that leads me to just a side question. How many of you have difficulty saying no? Anybody? Yeah, how to say no? Oh, this is a big one. Yeah, so we can talk about that from a communication standpoint. How do you say no? How many of you, when you say no, you feel guilty? Especially as women, how many of you then you find yourself saying yes, and then you're angry and resentful? Yes, and I'm never going to do it again. And then you do it again, then you start beating yourself up, and then it becomes a cycle, right? So
especially as a mom,
yes.
I fall into that game a lot, being a mom.
Yes, yes, being a mom, but being with friends, even at work. And I work with a lot of corporate women that are like, I can't say no to my boss. Yeah, you can. Well, we can figure it out, and there's ways to do it. And in the next piece, I'll give you even some ideas that I've learned along the way as a communications person on how to say no respectfully and what to do with that dreaded guilt. So write down your values. That will just help you chart and then practice saying no. And I'll give you some specifics. But anybody else, I'd like to hear a couple. Mari, what about you? Do you have, what was your goal?
My goal was to create passive and or multiple streams of income by the end of the year. And my steps right now are to, I'm in it right now, surrounding myself by like-minded progressive people, doing YouTube research because it's free and it's easy and accessible. And then for this particular thing, downloading the software for product research of my choice.
Okay, good. Have you gotten clear yet on what direction you want to go into business-wise to help you make the passive income?
I've been looking at the Amazon FBA.
Okay. Okay, so you have, okay, good. So those that you guys are doing a great job with that. It feels like those are tangible goals, not overwhelming. What's really helpful for all of us is to put that time frame on it. I want to go back to the debtors. Who are the debtors? Was Megan, was that you that you wanted to get out of debt? Determined to get out of debt, right? So tell us about, let's drill that down.
Well, there are a lot of action steps to do that. So I want to reduce my debt by 40% by the end of the year. So some of the steps are to define my finances with my personal versus my business, cut out all unnecessary purchases, minimize travel, and practice being grateful for what I do have.
Okay, good. So I'm going to drill down. I want to coach around this because those are good and meaty, but let's even drill it down more. So give me the first action step again.
Define my finances between my personal and business.
Okay, so now, so that we don't get off our Zoom room today. So what does that really mean? And when do you want to do that? What does that look like?
Yep.
How do you put the, so that's what I want to know.
Yeah,
When
there's a
does it
bunch
start?
there's a bunch of branches exactly that come off of that one action item, which is looking at my QuickBooks, pulling up my P&L for my business, looking at how much I'm spending on suppliers, looking at what I'm spending on payroll, everything, every single line item. Then looking at what I can either, improve on, meaning can I get more discounts or should I not be spending that much on this kind of product? I can go off on a tangents forever. And then also business-wise is looking at how can I increase my sales? What can I do to retain clients? What can I do to retain employees? Personal-wise is getting started from the ground up, which is probably creating a spreadsheet and looking at what I'm actually spending my money on. Like, am I buying too many facial products? Maybe. And then maybe I shouldn't be getting 5 massages a month. I totally don't get that many. So just really breaking it down and then seeing what I can eliminate. And I need to do this now. It's not like, oh, I'll do it next week, or next week turns into June, and then June turns into 2024. So it's something that needs to be done as soon as possible within, I would say, by the end of the month. So
look at, you see, she's drilling down even for herself, and we're all going to keep her accountable, aren't we?
I need it.
Well, okay, so let me first do a general question. How many of us can go into denial about money? We don't want to look at it. It's like a denial thing, right? We will play the games. So some of you not, you might be on point, but it's about creating that budget and getting clear. And then how many of you can be so overwhelming? Like Megan said, it's got another branch, then it's like, eek, just give me some new lipstick and facial cream and everything will be okay, right? So we can go into that, but it is about drilling it down and not to overwhelm and saying, the month of January or by January 31st or on that Sunday, I'm going to take 3 hours and commit to just boom. Commit to just looking at the finances, committing to the budget. I know for me and my husband, we started this several years ago, and it's a little side note, but I share it with people because so many people say, I never thought about that before. And like my sister does it now, and many of my clients. Every Sunday, which I know may not be ideal for you, a Saturday, whatever, but every Sunday we sit down. It doesn't even take that long. And for just 20, 25 minutes, we call it a business meeting. And again, what's in this account? What bills are going on? It's called the communication. There's no games. Oop, I went shopping. You're doing this. Do I have hair this week? It just cleans. Because how many of us know our spouses, our partners sometimes money can be a little bit of a tricky conversation. Anybody with that? Or am I the only one with my hand up? So we could go into denial about that. So coming up with a plan, but that's for all of us for the goal. We play games with ourselves and then wonder why it doesn't happen. So good. Thank you for being open. Okay, one more before we move on. One more. Who hasn't shared? Who has a good, Alicia, can you share your goal with us?
In terms of goals, it's more general, like personal development. It's like, I think someone mentioned earlier, just the fact that we got on the meeting, that's a goal, because you start thinking, well, I'm at work, should I really take this time off? You know, this and that. So I'm just trying to build business skills and learn from positive women.
I
How
love
they
that.
businesses,
again,
how they're
go
running,
ahead.
you know. Yeah.
So taking advantage today. So then what could be your goals? It's almost like, as Claudia had a list, could it be, I'm going to take 2 self-empowerment classes?
Yeah, I actually put just 1. I had 2 and I crossed it off, and I put 1 because it seemed more reasonable for me for now. Yeah.
You know, we think, oh, in a month, but it's that, I thank you, be reasonable, 1. And then is it 2? Like what could be a juicy book that you, I mean, I don't know if you're a reader, but that could be a second. What would be a juicy book for you? I mean, do you like to read? Would that be an interesting thing?
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I saw somebody listing books, so I still have to put, write down notes, but that's something that I could do.
Yeah, so the 3 actions.
Read,
Say that, read.
No, I always think like, what's a good book I could read, but I just feel like my days are so full. Like just doing this meeting was a big deal, but it's for me. So that's kind of the theme, and we're just trying to take care of self with the pandemic and everything. Like, okay, well, how long are we gonna be stuck in this? Like, let's do something new this year. So this Zoom meeting or this development meeting is new for me.
Good. And that's just it. So validating that. And then again, just the 3 steps is it reading 1 book, and then we make the time. But when we put the pen to paper, it kind of breaks through that denial. Do you guys get that? Do you see the power of goals that we forget? We make it so big, and then we have to drill it down.
Yeah, I feel it has to be really simple. I even put use my planner that I have. I have a brand new planner that I don't use, actually writing it down. It's different than just jotting or putting things in your phone, like writing it down and looking at it, like planning your week. So those would be my 3 goals,
Yeah.
Getting on a meeting. Yeah.
The power of, I believe that you said that your word for the year was hope. Is that right?
Yeah.
And like putting the word hope. We have to constantly feed ourselves the positive and keep us focused. Hope. And these are my 3 ingredients. Once a month, going to a women's empowerment class. 2, read a new book. Claudia just gave us, I want to go out and get the book now. How many of you want to get the book? She's like singing the praises. I'm trusting her. Let's go. I need a new juicy book. We have to work on feeding ourselves, especially when we're all being tested right now with this whole pandemic. We're all being tested. So it's that time we're being forced to go within, whether we want to or not. Okay. And you want to, there's a whispering for you to be here today. And again, it's not about me, it's about the women here. You're not alone. And I think that's the most powerful thing, being with other women and knowing we're all going through the stuff together and how we can help each other, and we have some new ideas. I get new ideas from you guys. Okay, great. So let's go on. Marguerite, can we go on to the next slide? We can all take a sip of water, because I know it takes a little moment to transition back.
Yes, give me that minute.
Don't you love that accent? Take your time.
Okay. Oh, give me a second. Do you see the screen?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay,
so
great.
After what's your goals? Yeah.
Okay. You want the next one?
Yeah. Just for a little.
There we go.
Yes. This is one I want everyone to take a deep breath from. What's stopping you from reaching it? Okay, so we're going to come back to the big screen. Thank you. That was just a little feeder to show you what direction we're going in.
You want me to come back to our chat room? Okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
There we go. So, as I like to say, popcorn, either in the chat or raise your hand. So we went for the big vision with the magic wand and twinkling our nose to make things go well. Then we're learning, okay, let's put in our business hat. We need to drill it down. We need to come up with action steps. But even so, what little things get in the way? So let's bring that to the surface. This is the therapist in me. Let's bring a light to it. What are our excuses? We all have them. Okay, so what gets in the way? So put in the chat or just raise your hand. Let's just do some popcorn or just pop out. Unmute yourself. Me, who said me? Megan. Okay, so Megan, pop into what gets in your way. So when you say you, what do you mean by that?
My own self-doubt. It's that monkey mind in the back going, you can't do it. It's too much. You suck. You know, it's just me. I know I can do whatever I need to get to the point where I need to be, but it's just all of that anxiety, and it's not easy to try and identify it. It's just all encompassing with what my brain is trying to control. So, and it's also the idea of control that stops me too. So just letting go and letting it happen, I think that would help. So I get in the way.
You get it. Anybody, go ahead.
Can I add to that?
Yes, please.
Like overthinking. So I feel like a lot of times throughout the day, we'll, within our brains, just be like, I need to do this and this and this and this, instead of taking it one thing at a time and just doing it and just not overthinking it. Just, I need to go to the grocery store. I need to clean the house, and just start cleaning, or just hop in the car and go. And it's so much less stressful. But I feel like we take a lot of time, throughout our day thinking about things, overthinking.
Oh, how many of you agree with that? How many of you overthink? And then you get yourself crazy. Then you create the anxiety. Okay. And then we start circling, and I call it dancing around the mulberry bush. Claudia, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say also that's one of the mass of personajes that I found, the overthinker. It's just like the overthinking that is like things that don't even have happened or happen, something happened and start creating a story that never is gonna happen. What a wasting time and dry energy that is, I found out. So.
Okay, good. Yes, keep going with this, because we have some remedies that will help, some that you might have to try on, some that you may have tried before. I see that Jennifer's hands up. Jennifer, did you want to share?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I put my AirPods again.
That's good.
I want to say I agree with Megan and her coworker. Overthinking, me getting in the way. I want to say for me is people pleasing, saying no. That gets in the way because I usually set myself goals, and then I'm doing very well, and then like my phone starts ringing. I get notifications, my friends, my business friends, they want me to help them with something, and then there I go. And so I want to say maybe distractions, maybe like our friends, our social friends. That's what gets in the way.
Good. Yes, distractions. What else? Rita, what else? What about from you? What gets in your way? What's stopping you?
The first three things that popped into my head related to my goal was myself. What's stopping was myself. Either sometimes I could do the whole like pity party, little, or even like the overthinking. Like I get like, I know in my head it's the right thing to do. I just don't do it. But then once I talk to my sister or my best girlfriend or a coworker, they're like, it's all like, not that I don't have the confidence in myself, but it's just taking that risk, even though I know it's the right thing to do. It's just, I stop myself from doing that. And then part of that, and then my second answer was like fear or the risk. And then like my third, because mine has to do with finances, is there's not enough income to do it all and feel like I'm safe. Because I'm as a single woman in the Bay Area, it's expensive out here. And so if I make a financial, like one of my goals was to get a car this year, which I've been wanting to do for 2 years. And so for me, it's like living alone, having my own place. Can I afford to still save? Can I afford all my expenses? And can I afford this new car payment? And and knowing that it's going to be okay, it might be a little tight, but just taking that risk and just going for it, because at the end of the day, it's going to be okay. But allowing myself to be okay with it.
Beautiful. Maria's giving you a heart on that. And yes, beautiful. Yes, it is. And I feel like, are you getting a little teary-eyed right now? Yeah, it's hard. Yes. And thank you for being so open and vulnerable. That's okay. And just kind of letting those tears come up, because it's almost like the answers. Many of us do, like let go, let God and stuff. But while we're going through it, we're the culprit up here. And I want to hear a couple more. And then what are some things that we can do to self-care, take care of ourselves so that we don't let that anxiety overtake us? Because the part of you said, Megan said, it's going to be okay in the end. And how can we walk through that fire? Claudia, were you going to say something to that effect?
I just thought about another one is comparing ourselves. I sometimes compare ourselves. That's like, it drains so much of us, and it's just like hard. It gets even harder, especially when we're going through such a hard times. And then we see sometimes the social media, I have to remove myself because it was not doing any good for me. It's just like all that compared thing going on up there. It was not helping.
Comparing, and you have to be careful, social media, right? And then you get on social media, it's like, why is everybody having such a great life except for me? Right? So have any of you ever practiced mindfulness? Do you guys know what not meditation, but mindfulness? So there's a couple of little nuggets I just want to help remedy right now. And some of the things that I sprinkle through in the next, we're still together for a while. Some of it may feel too woo-woo, but you guys are California girls, may feel too woo-woo, but I'm going to still encourage you to try it. Or, when you're out there in life, it's almost today creating a list so that when that anxiety happens, when you're feeling crazy, when you're feeling angry, when you're feeling distressed, to pull out the list and say, let me try doing some of these things. Because again, this is the culprit. So mindfulness, what I love about mindfulness that I've only learned really in the last several years, been more focused on it. And this is not easy, but I feel like it's one of the biggest things is to be, and I'm going to take a deep breath on this and ask you to do it too, present. This also goes into when I teach stress management classes. Do you know that you cannot physically be stressed out and take a deep breath at the same time? Even if it's for just that moment, you can't be stressed out. And it's a remedy. And especially, we know with the pandemic, how many of us, our anxiety's even gone up further than it was before this whole situation. So we want to play a little game right now, even called the mindfulness, okay? And what I want you to do is put your feet flat on the floor, okay? We're just going to take a time out. And first of all, let's just take a deep breath in. Let's just land for a minute, because a lot of emotions are coming up. And now we're getting into some deeper stuff. All right, we're being triggered in a good way. It's okay. It's fire, and we can walk in it when we're present. There's a gift in being present. So inhale through your nose. Just hold it for a minute. Not quite a minute. And then exhale. It's always amazing to me, just in one little breath, how it can almost shift the energy. But here's what I want you to do now. I want you can close your eyes if you don't feel comfortable, just kind of look down. I want you, and you have to pick 5 things. I want you to be a good listener. I want you to hear 5 things right now that's going on in your household or Zoom, just 5 noises that you haven't been tuned into. So go ahead and pick 5. And staying with that, now I want you to pick, I want you to see what you can smell. We're just tapping into our senses. See if you can come up with one or two. What are you smelling right now? Then I want you to think about, what are you tasting? Just taste. What are you tasting in your mouth right now? And lastly, not to come back to the Zoom room, but look around your desk or where you are. I want you to pick 5 different subjects, and I want you just to touch them and be present with it. Okay, so just pick up, I don't care if it's a pen or whatever, and just feel it. And when you're ready, come back to the Zoom room. And who would like to share their experience of taking a little time out to be 100% mindful? What did that, was that hard for you? Did you notice some different sounds that you weren't paying attention to? Who would like to share their experience?
I'll share.
Thank you, Ashley.
Me and my sister are very, very sensitive to noises. So we always feel like there's an annoying noise going on. And I didn't hear anything. I maybe heard like my computer fan, and there was nothing else. And with most of the other senses, there was nothing also. And I was like, wow, that's a rare moment that I'm not hearing a noise that I think is annoying, tasting something I don't like, all that. So that was a surprise.
How did it feel for you just doing the mindful exercise and being 100% focused on the different tasks?
It felt good. I try to do mindfulness every so often. And I know you said not meditation, but you can do like mindfulness in your meditation. So I'm used to that. But it felt good, especially since it was so peaceful. And I feel like my parents must have left the house because I didn't hear anything. Usually I hear them.
Good, good. What else? Who else had an experience of just a way to practice in like literally 3 minutes, being mindful that gets you out of your head? If you're focused on your senses with attention, okay, it alleviates that anxiety, at least for that moment. Who else had an experience of that? Mari, can you share with us?
It was just good to pause, and I've done this practice a lot with my therapy. So just to like stop and do the different senses, it's like, oh yeah, now I know how to be like more grounded, more present, more focused in this present moment.
Good. It's the present moment that it gives you a break from our head, that like back to Rita, and then we start worrying. And then once we start worrying, it circles to the next one and the next worry. And then it starts going. So it's like, how can we be empowered women, stop that and harness the power within to do an exercise that we know we're starting to spin? Good. Anybody else? Anybody else? Maria, Jennifer, Charlene, anybody else like to share? Or Marguerite, are you still there?
I am.
Were you able to participate in the mindfulness?
Yes, yes, it's yeah, it gives you more insights to contemplate the moment really, and not to be elsewhere. And well, I guess my house is cold, so I sort of smelled the cold and felt more the cold, and you know, but it was a good experience, not a bad one, because it was, you know, I could, when you said smell, I smelled very fresh air, and I felt different things, and but it does give you a break. But when I have breaks, I become very emotional, so I do not know if that's good or bad. Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing that last piece. And I'll tell you, I call it for women. Sometimes we have the busy disease. And someone's saying, yes, Megan, that need to practice fine. The busy disease is we're spinning, right, all the time. But there's a reason we're spinning. It's an addiction. Just like if you're smoking too much or drinking too much or shopping too much or eating too much. So Marguerite, thank you for sharing, because sometimes when we stop, that's why we don't stop, because eeks, what are these feelings that are coming up? But what I want to encourage you today, and hopefully with some of the new tools, and I'm going to keep sharing more, that you can be in the emotions. Like I love that Rita, let the tears come and know that it's going to be okay, but let those feelings out. So a couple more remedies. Again, what gets in the way, you know, time, fear, success. But I did want to acknowledge the no word. So just to give you a little tidbit that I have learned over the years, a couple of different ways. And for some of you that are writing values and saying you've got to say yes to you. So one little thing, do any of you have, I call them chatty Cathys? Do you get people on the phone and they're calling you and they're like dumping on you, or they're taking your time, and then you're angry, you want to get off the phone, but that you're listening? Does anybody have those time? They're like time robbers. And then you're resentful, right? Because your time is precious. It's you. So how can you get off the phone? So who has issues like that? Megan, did you raise your hand? You want to give me a quick example of that?
It would just be, you know, with a client who just complaining about something, or, you know, going into way too much detail about how they missed this teeny little tiny thing in the bathroom. It's very important to them and they pay a lot of money, and they just yap and yap and yap. And all I have to say is, okay, I'll just send somebody else I'll send somebody out to fix it. When can they come by? But they have to explain why it's so important to them. I'm like, yeah, I know how important it is. I'm listening to you, but they just keep going and going.
Okay.
Yeah, those kind of moments.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a whole thing. Like, one, you want to validate. Yes, I know it's important to, and it's okay to even interrupt clients. People sometimes can get needy. Okay. And that's even like if it's a girlfriend and they're always calling you, or one at a time, it's okay to say, you know what, John, to use their name. I'm just giving you some tips now on how to say no. You know, Susie Q, I hear what you're saying. I totally understand. I'm so sorry that happened. We'll send somebody out. Yeah, but I totally get it. Thank you. We'll send somebody out. If we need to start using our voice as women and not have a tone, that's the big thing. We don't want to have that clip. I know already. I know that's the problem. You told me already. Different tone. Okay. Same thing with the chatty Cathys. What I've had to do, and you know, we all have different clients. We have different scenarios. We have family members. I call it a pre-call. And I often will say, if somebody calls me and say it's a friend or something's going on, you know what? I have 10 minutes and I don't let that go on. I set boundaries. This is how I set boundaries. You know what? I've got an appointment at 9:30, even if the appointment's with me, so that I can do my paperwork or marketing. Okay. We need to set boundaries. Another little tool that I have, a communication tool, it's called the sandwich technique. Some of you have probably heard of it. It's a thing where we start with a positive to say no. And I'm going to encourage all of you, because this is a big time robber when we're saying yes to things that we don't want to. And the sandwich technique, how many of you are familiar with what's called the sandwich technique? Have many of you heard of it before? So for those of you that haven't, it's like, it's a sandwich. It's supposed to be a sandwich. The top piece of bread is you say something positive. Oh, that party sounds so fabulous. Thank you for inviting me to be on the board. I so appreciate your thinking of me. However, so that's the first piece of bread, called thank you, appreciation, validate. Then you give them the meat. Unfortunately, I won't be able to make it. You know what? I have another commitment. Hopefully I can say yes next time. You tell them no. Many times I find women don't say no because they don't know how to do it. I'm telling you, I give people sandwiches, a big carb sandwich every day. This, to me, it works. This is what's given me confidence over the years. Instead of how do I say no? Then we all get into should I lie? Then you get into trouble with that, right? Let's be clear, communicators, women, empowered. The last piece of bread is again a thank you. Again, thanks for thinking of me again. If I can get you another referral, or I know Susie Q can help, that's wonderful. You've got to stick with your commitment. Saying no is huge. The other thing I learned along the way, and this is going to be very twisted, how to get rid of the guilt, right? How many of us feel the guilt? The guilt, I said, no, I should be going to that party. Why did I say no? She came to my party. I should be at that fundraiser, but I'm really exhausted. Here's what I've learned about guilt. And I've learned this from all the gurus in my past. The guilt doesn't go away. When I learned to embrace the guilt and to realize, and Claudia will like this because she's into her feelings, and Mari, many of you are already doing your personal growth work. Feel the feelings. Instead of trying to stuff it away, I feel guilty that I said no. I feel like I should be going to the party, but I'm not going to. And I'm just going to feel the feelings of guilt. And you know what? It doesn't stay that long. It's about acknowledging the feeling and riding the wave. Have any of you, again, I'm stereotyping you all, California, taken yoga before? Any of you taken yoga classes? Okay. So I learned this a long time ago from my LA yoga teacher. The warrior pose. Do we know the warrior pose? And I remember his name was Thomas. And I loved it. When he taught yoga, he kind of always said like sort of what it meant. And he goes, when you're in the warrior, it's burning and it's hard and it's hot, right? He goes, but it's just a pose and you can stay present and mindful during that pose, and the feelings will leave you. So, and then to relax. It's the same thing with the guilt. But at this point, what I love about the seminar right now, it's the beginning of the year. Who are you going to say no to? Who can you set the boundaries with? How can you create more time for you? And I didn't hear this specifically, but how many of you tend to take things personally? Anybody? So there's a great, speaking of resources, and somebody might put this in the chat for me. Have any of you heard of the 4 agreements? So many of you already. Yes, it's been around for a long time. There's a chapter in there. The 4 agreements is a small book. And I mean, you could read it, the 4 agreements. Thank you. You could read it like in less than an hour. But there's one chapter on there that saved my life called Quit Taking Things Personally. Because I would take everything. Well, how many of us are sensitive souls? I have 2 hands up. And rejection, and they don't like me. And then we start the spinning up here and the spinning, right? So what I learned in that book is what people say about you to you has nothing to do with you. It's a projection of themselves. That even means the good stuff. But it was healing. And what I give to all my clients, again, I have my little props here today, like my magic wand, and I have my Q-tip. And so write this down. This is an acronym to remember your Q-tip, QTIP, quit taking it personally. These, like we said in the beginning with Claudia, this is the inner work that we need to do. We need to set the boundaries. We need to practice saying no. We need to remember we're empowered women. We need to use our voice. We don't have to be mean. Don't come out the gate and say no. Use the sandwich technique. Start writing things down. Okay, so those are just a few little nuggets. I want to get to a few more. I'm not going to even go into the next PowerPoint. Marguerite, you're going to be off the hook for that. What I do want to do, I'm just going to speak spontaneously here. And this was one of the PowerPoints, but I just want to go for it because I'm aware of our time. So a big part, a big remedy, some of you are doing this, some of you are just doing it naturally and want you to start doing it consciously. And it's called habits in the morning. How many of you are morning people? Anybody? Just a couple of you. How many of you kind of struggle with that a little bit? Got the snooze alarm going on? Yeah. So what they say, what I say, but all the gurus, and for all of us that want to be more positive, I love the word, I think it was Alicia that said hopeful, that we don't want to worry, like lovely Rita. And you can study all the psychology that this in the morning is where it happens. There's something called, again, because you're my California gals, how many of you, I'm just doing resources spontaneously, so feel free to jot it down in the chat. How many of you have heard of the, it's called the Miracle Morning book? Have any of you heard of that before? So you guys, so usually, I love it that you guys, of course, Claudia raises her hand for everything because she's on the path, I call it, on the path. The Miracle Morning is, I love it. It's new, but it's kind of old stuff. And what I mean by old stuff, it's the old stuff of things that you need to do in the morning to set your intention. So before I kind of say some of those things, the Miracle Morning, by the way, is a book, but it's also like on Facebook, you can find the Miracle Morning. What the whole game is that you need to get up earlier in the morning and set the intention for the day. And there's several different things you can do. Now, what I don't like about the Miracle Morning, the way that this one person does it, it's very regimented. Like you need to get up at 5 in the morning, you need to do this and that. I don't believe you have to quite be that way. But let's do a couple pieces of popcorn. Who does morning rituals? How many of you have a practice? So Claudia, let's hear your practice in the morning.
I wake up, have my coffee, make my bed, take a shower and prepare for, feed my dogs and prepare for meditation. I'll do meditation. After that, I will go and take a walk. And then I come back and kind of start my routine. Depends of the day, but pretty much every day is that. I won't also compromise that because I know how much that affects my day. I have done the work. Also, I know, so it's not because I know so much, it's because I've been, that's one of my business too. I'm a coach. So I know this, so I have done, I'm like a life mentor. That's my business. So that's why I have done the work, because we teach by that, we teach by example. So that's why I know so many books and everything, but I have done the opposite too. And that's how I get into this part, because my life was so messed up and it was so, so I started applying all the rules and practice all that stuff that I was reading and shaping it in the things that were more in alignment with who I was. So everything that you read gonna apply, like you say. It might be 7 in the morning. It might be wake up at 6 in the morning, if that works for you. But having that, and also it doesn't have to be a 20 minutes meditation. It can be 5-minute meditation and 3 minutes gratitude journal thing. So.
Yes, you're saying several different things, and I'm going to agree with Claudia. What I've learned along the way and through my gurus of personal growth and through the years is that if I don't do my morning routine, and I'm going to share with you what I do and what the Miracle Morning and a lot of the gurus, what I find is very helpful, I'm off balance. Then I get worried. Then I don't trust in God that everything's going to be okay. And then I get mad at you because you stole my pen, and we're irritable all the time. So a lot of it, and then how many of us, oh, I'll exercise later in the day, or I'll do my movement or journal writing, and then who's really doing that at night? So some of the ingredients that I encourage is, and you can do all of this in 10 minutes. You can do this all in 20, 25 minutes. You don't have to do them all. But I know for me to feed my soul, the kind of day is one to do a spiritual reading. And the spiritual reading can be a quote. I have many different books. Sometimes it's just reading a paragraph or two, or just an affirmation. Number one. Number two, affirmations. It's like the word of the year, but to literally take out your mirror and to say, you know, you are, and not to get focused on, oh, I think I need a little lipstick. No, you look at yourself in the eyes and it's like, you are an empowered woman. You've got this. It's going to work out. Affirm. Affirmations work. Some sort of movement, not exercise. But if you want to do some yoga, but get in your body. That's my third one. I'm just making a list right now. 4, if you have any spiritual practice of prayer. I know for me, I just get on my knees. I just get on my knees for 30 seconds. To me, it's a physicality of just surrendering. I've got to surrender this day. I'm going to trust it's all going to work out. Meditation. The meditation can be mindfulness. This can just be a few minutes. We don't have to do this for hours. This is to feed your soul so that you are strong to deal with all these other issues that are going on. It's the internal muscles we're stretching. And then get your coffee or whatever it is. But I'm curious, some of you, is this new for you? Or how many of you could start your day and add 1 or 2 more pieces? Marguerite, you've got your hands up. Let's hear from you.
No, just reminding you, we are about 10 minutes from the closing time. So
yes.
I know we can go on and on with this topic, which is wonderful. And we're so interested, but you know, many of us, possibly some of the participants also have some kind of time.
Yes, I will definitely. Yep, I'll be mindful of the time.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
No, that's good. That's good. Thank you. I like, see, we're setting boundaries. So who else just in the morning routine? Who else in the morning routine? Is this new information? How many of you heard something new that you can add to your morning routine to center you? Let me hear from you. Go ahead.
I know for me, one thing I've been working on is waking up earlier, and not just all of a sudden I'm going to get up at 5 every day, just maybe in little increments. And I feel like that in itself just boosts my day and how I feel. Like I feel better if I'm able to wake up, 15 minutes earlier than I usually do and get more done, or maybe see more of the sunrise, that kind of thing. That in itself, I feel like has helped me. And then I'm able to add, meditation or maybe going for a short walk or something to my daily routine.
Good. It's just, and it's again, starting small instead of going to the extreme. You might become a miracle morning person and do the 5 a.m. He calls them saviors. It's kind of the same thing, but he has a nice acronym. So you can look it up for fun. Jennifer, let's hear from you.
Yeah, so I've actually heard, I used to read the Morning Miracle, and I used to think that I wasn't a morning person. And when I started reading the Morning Miracle, like I literally became a morning person. I was waking up at 5 in the morning because I was following every step that the book was telling me to do. And it just started little by little. And so for me, what I try to do is I just try not to, because I'm a mom as well. And so I try not to be so hard on myself. And my only first goal in the morning is waking up to take my kids to school on time. Like if I can do that, I already started the morning off good. And then after that, I come back home. I take about 2 hours, to get myself ready and to get the atmosphere ready. And then I just get to work. And that is like my morning.
Now, are you still incorporating some of the mindfulness work from the Miracle Morning? And so I know that that's what I'm hearing, and I get it. It's like, da-da, I've done enough. I've got the kids up in time. Can you get up 10 minutes earlier? Is there time enough for Jennifer? Because you've got some big values that you want to set the stage in. And sometimes my whole thing is start with a small bite. So, I mean, just something to think about.
No, definitely. I actually stopped reading the Morning Miracle, and that routine that I had for myself in the morning, like 2 hours before my family woke up, definitely left. But the Morning Miracle is a great, great book.
It's a great book. It's all, you see, it's a balancing act. We go to the extremes. I'm up at 5 in the morning, 2 hours stuff, and then we're not doing anything. Okay. It's the balance. So because of our time, I know, I just want to do a quick go around. We started out with our word for the year, and I would just like, just literally from today, and just trusting that, is there 1 or 2 new nuggets that you can incorporate today to support you in the new year, to do things? Sometimes it just might be a, aha, I never thought about that. Or maybe a reminder, basically a commitment. What's going to be different after today? Because today we could be like, whoop, and then you guys are on to the next client and busyness. So what today can you say out loud that you can step into doing differently to support you in harnessing the power within and remembering that our mindset matters? So we'll do a quick go around because I know Marguerite has a couple of announcements that she wants to make at the end too. So she's keeping me on task, but she doesn't know I'm a time management person anyway. So lovely Rita, you go first.
I think what resonated it was all great, but I think for me, this last piece about the habits in the morning, it's something that I used to do quite a bit, but I've gotten kind of away from that. And I think I'm realizing, well, you know what, like I need to get back to that. Because when I do wake up, I feel a little like, okay, I got to do this and this and this. And I'll make a list for myself, but I don't like allow myself to like check in with myself. I just kind of get going. So I think, because when we did that little mindfulness exercise with the hearing, the smelling, the touching, like that kind of really centered me and it made it very peaceful. So I think I need to do that in the mornings for myself to kind of conquer the day or the pressure.
Okay, good. So you're gonna just, incorporate good. I'm telling, the morning is a big remedy. So Claudia, what is your one tidbit that you're gonna walk away with today?
Doing that 25 minutes meeting, talk about finances with myself.
Good.
I won't do it with my husband, but I'll do it with myself.
That's good. That's a good commitment. I love it. Miss Megan and the two of you, yes.
Well, we are going to go take a walk on the beach after this.
So doing,
not just saying. Tiffany said that earlier, not just saying, oh, I'm gonna, host a barbecue this weekend, or I'm gonna go walk on the beach. Doing it.
just by the meat and the wood.
Just do it and stop worrying about it. Be present. Listen to your words. Stay the commitment. All right, Ashley.
I think the morning thing is really important for me. I used to wake up super early, like when I was a kid and early teens, but as I've gotten older, I never thought I would find myself in this position, but it is so hard for me to get out of bed. So I want to do that. And I also want to do the affirmation thing because I've always found them really awkward. Like when I started yoga, I was like, oh, I can get used to this. Yes, it's weird at first, but I can get used to this. And anything related to that. But affirmations is the one thing that I find so awkward. And I just want to find a way that I can fit it into my life.
I love that it's awkward, out of your comfort zone, and that's why you need to do it. That's an empowered woman. Mari, what's your tidbit for today?
Just the constant reminder to stay present. I know I hear it so often. It's like, yes, that makes sense. And then it goes off and I do all these actions, and actions without the intent is exhausting and nothing really gets done. So just really remembering to stay present.
It's an ongoing thing. Every day we have to remember. Miss Jennifer, anything for you that you share? Was you're unmuted? I mean, you're muted, yeah. Whoops, we can't hear you now. We'll circle back. Let's see. Jim, is there anything you want to share?
Well, I usually do whatever I want to do, which means I don't do stuff on my own house. So I guess I'm going to look around for the magic wand. And until then, I'm going to do some baby steps on my projects.
I like it. Very good. Alicia, is there anything you'd like to end with?
Yeah, it's kind of like what Jim said, writing down goals and just small action steps to change my week and my day, and that sort of thing.
And to stay with the hope. I want to have you like a big word, hope, so that you just see that.
Yeah.
Maria, are you there?
Yes. I think, well, this year I started journaling, and I think I'm gonna start journaling in the morning instead at night, because I tend to not do it because I become lazy.
Put it off, yeah.
But also checking out all the books you guys recommended. So thank you.
Good books. And lastly, Jennifer, I think you said are you back?
Yeah. So I just want to be more present as well. And I want to practice mindfulness. And I want to take the time to be more mindful.
I love it. It's the time. So as we know, we could go on, and I know this is a short talk in real life. Thank you all for being so present with me and for being interactive and keeping the energy in your camera. I so appreciate all of you. And I do want to pass the magic wand and the Q-tip to Marguerite so she can give it a wrap. So hope to see all of you at the next. I'm going to be doing several seminars for the Women's Business Center coming up in the next couple of months. So I hope to see some of you again. Thank you.
And
Marguerite.
we're so much looking forward to that. Thank you, Heidi. This was an excellent class, great information, a great way to start the new year. And for those of you that want to learn more about our services, you can have a free consultation. I have already added the link to our consultation on the chat box. We also have a YouTube library of all our past events and classes, so you can check that. It's also added on the chat box. And this class is being recorded, and as soon as we have that video, we will send it to your email, so you can have it and go over any things you would like to check or remember. I'm going to share screen just to let you know we have some upcoming events. On January 25th, the Entrepreneur's Journey, The Power of Yes. On January 27th, Introduction to QuickBooks for Small Businesses. On January 31st, there will also be an accounting class in Spanish for basic principles of, I'm sorry, not accounting, computing. The accounting class is coming in February. I'm sorry about that. And there is an information session on January 25th to our course, Explore, Design, and Launch. This is a 8-week course where they will teach you how to, everything you need to start a business. And well, we hope to see you again. We are, again, we thank Heidi for sharing her expertise with us. And we are here at the Women's Business Center. We wish you all a wonderful day and rest of your week, and Happy New Year. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Heidi.
Bye.
Phenomenal job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
There are many people saying thank you. Should we stay a little longer to just go over, or you want me to invite you?
I think thank you so much for your patience, Marguerite, and for keeping us on time and doing. And then at the end, just the PowerPoint.